What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is living in Grand Junction, Colorado. Today I'm getting gas here in the Redlands off of Highway 340, and we're going to talk about the state of your commute time heading into 2024. We'll be right back. What's up, everybody? Like I said, we're here at the Good to Go in the Redlands area of town. And like you're probably not a huge fan of commute times. And as you can probably imagine, Christie and I, we commute a lot for what it is that we do for a living. So what I thought I would do is run a couple of scenarios. I've got some keys to deliver out at the east end of the valley, essentially at 29 Road. And right now the GPS is showing the route that I want to take to get there, about 17 or 18 minutes. And then I'm going to run a second scenario on the way back and take a completely different route, and let's see what that looks like coming back. Now, growing up in Southern California, I certainly am used to some ridiculous commute times. And we get questions often about what does the commute time look like there in Grand Junction. So running these two scenarios hopefully will give you a pretty good idea of what it's all about. Most of the routes that you're going to take when you're driving through in and around Grand Junction is going to be essentially just your regular side streets, highways. Yes, we have Interstate 70, but I mean 95% of the time you are not going to be taking the interstate going from west to east, east to west across the valley, unless you're going to the airport, which is in the north part of Grand Junction. But look at this view here. You're going to be taking just regular, side streets, highways. We're on Highway 340 right now. And then coming back, there's Patterson Road, which is one of the main east-west roads to go across the valley. And then North Avenue is another kind of main east-west road. But again, yeah, we have the interstate, but that's essentially to go to the airport, or if you're going from maybe Palisade all the way to Fruita, then yeah, you'll probably want to hop on the interstate. Alright, so we made it. It was almost exactly what the GPS said. In fact, it was a minute less, at about 17 minutes. And Patterson Road is right here. My drop-off was right across the street. Now, that first route, if you're like me, sometimes I like to just have continuous movement, even though I might be covering a little more ground, which is what we did in scenario number one. Now on the way back, we're going to take Patterson Road, which is probably considered one of the more, well-traveled roads here in Grand Junction. It just has a few more, signals and stoplights. So we're going to give that a whirl on the way back, see what the GPS says, how accurate that is, moving back into the Redlands. 32 Road is just another 3 miles east, so we essentially went from the most, western portion of Grand Junction to the east side of the valley. Took only about 17 minutes. Well, back where we started, GPS was pretty darn accurate that way too on Patterson, almost exactly 16 minutes. So almost identical whether going east with a little different route or coming back west on Patterson, almost exactly the same time. Now, if this were, Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock coming west on Patterson, you're going to add probably another 3 to 4 minutes to that for what we would call our rush hour, which is kind of funny for most of the folks that are coming from a bigger city. We really don't have a rush hour as compared to what they have to contend with on a regular basis. Now, what could slow you down? Is it going to be snowfall? No, we don't have a whole lot of snow here unless you're going to be, leaving at 6 in the morning and we just had 2 inches of snow overnight. It might take a little bit for the roads to clear, maybe, waiting for those trucks to come put the salt down. Again, 2 inches of snow. Our roads are generally, for the most part, very open and very clear, even when we get a little dusting of snow. The one thing that might prohibit you from getting to your destination a little quicker is I'm talking about construction, of course, right? Now, that's a good thing when you're talking about progress and keeping things moving along. I think the city does a fantastic job with making sure that our roadways and our access roads and highways, the improvements that they are doing, is just making sure that, yeah, we might have a couple of steps back, but you got to do that sometimes to take a couple of steps forward. And that's just something, I think the city does a wonderful job with. If you are in a situation where you hit one of those construction zones, maybe adds a minute or two to your commute time. It's generally just one of those guys holding the stop sign because they have maybe the right side of the road. They're doing some work or adding a sidewalk, so they have to have one lane operating only. So you got to wait for those cars that are coming the opposite direction. Then they'll flip the sign around. It's your turn. Now you can go through. It generally never takes more than a minute or two to go through one of those little construction areas that they have on a regular basis here. Again, it's just progress. We do have minimal growth, only 1.5% a year, but they're always on top of that, and I think that's a good thing. So if you're looking at it as a whole, I call it the 15-minute rule. You essentially can get just about anywhere you want to go throughout the valley in 15 minutes. Now, if you're going from Fruita all the way to Palisade, you're going to definitely want to take the interstate because that's going to be a good 20-25 minutes probably, going that extreme all the way from wine country, the furthest east in the valley that you can go, all the way out to Fruita. Yeah, you're going to want to take the interstate for that. Now, are there going to be some variations on that 15-minute rule? Sure. If there is a construction zone or something like that that you're going to contend with. From a ranking standpoint, Grand Junction ranks 35. Now, being low on that list is a good thing. 35 out of how many untold cities in Grand Junction, the only ones that rank better are going to be those towns with 6,000 people. So pretty good ranking as far as that's concerned. On a national level, we do pretty darn well. I think across the country, the average commute time is about 26 minutes. In Grand Junction, it looks like the ranking is I think it's 16 minutes, 18 minutes, something along those lines. So pretty good, but all that is subjective, right? If you talk to some of the locals that grew up here since the 80s and you could see 7 cars for the entire day, they're going to tell you, man, oh man, the traffic is just horrible here. Well, again, coming from a lot of our clients from bigger cities, the West Coast, the East Coast, New York City, for heaven's sakes, it takes you probably an hour to go 10 miles in New York City. So again, all subjective, but from just an overarching view of the commute times here in Grand Junction, I think we're doing pretty darn good. So again, guys, as much as we love doing these videos, we'd love nothing more than to absolutely crush your real estate goals and moving out this way. So the information popping up below, reach out any way that you know how. Give us a phone call, shoot us a text, send us an email, even send the darn carrier pigeon. We've got your back days, nights, weekends when heading out here to Grand Junction. Until the next video, We'll catch you later.